Jam?
I need a vacation.
It's been about 3 years since Oda Emon released their original title, Wolfstride, which, to be honest, didn't really take off as much as I had hoped it would, due to the fact of it being overshadowed by giants like Dying Light 2, Halo Infinite, and many other big titles at the time. Oda Emon is a studio that does things a little bit differently. Their games are fairly priced, if not underpriced, long and packed with unique components that you rarely ever see elsewhere, not to mention rocking an amazing soundtrack, character development, and of course, an engaging storyline, oftentimes fully voiced, or until they can get around to adding it into the rest of the game. This time around, they've done something that I never thought possible. They've actually tried to revolutionize the action roguelike deck building genre, with Zet Zillions having been inspired heavily by Slay the Spire.
If it all goes well, I got a fridge full of booze, a cold pizza slice, and 900 hours of Slay the Spire waiting.
While also incorporating their own elements, ideas, and old designs from games like FTL with the idea of going backwards rather than just forwards, sometimes with unfair challenging missions which have you going down specific paths for powerful cards or trying to get as many events and battles as possible on the way to the location without being caught and without being overwhelmed for your desire for greed. Even if you're not familiar with them because they're a small studio hidden away and relatively unknown of, you cannot deny that they have a very solid foundation to work with thanks to their visual style and genuine desire to do right by their community. Now, I won't say that this game is perfect in the current release state because it isn't. While it does provide you with a seamless story, character dialogue, and engaging fun gameplay, there are elements that definitely need to be improved on, such as trying to organize your cards for events, which is a bit of a nuisance as it does feel janky while going left to right rather than right to left, having controller support, more voice acting, new fusions, new cards, new story, bosses, and a great deal more in terms of content. But that is where they have plans with their future roadmap, so it is coming, it's just going to take some time. It's worth noting that this game is currently more of a half-finished early access release. It's totally functional, and you can beat the story in approximately 13 hours, but there's a lot of room for improvement as stated, just due to a lot of frustrating issues surrounding the gameplay. I'd say one of the biggest issues is the danger zone, which is not at all that dangerous. It's simply an area for you to harvest currency with a specific deck and heal yourself back to full. You can even continue to complete certain quests indefinitely to become very overpowered, but this is more of a 50-50 chance of happening because quests sometimes stop generating when the whole map is filled. Zet Zillion is a game that progresses chapter by chapter. Unlike other games which just includes debuffs, shields, buffs, and attacks, and a looping theme, this game has numerous unique elements including a very understandable reason for the looping system. You are the commander of Planet Trash, where you can combine your cards by mashing trash together, which you can think of as robotic meat, to create powerful variants, perform missions for powerful upgrades, and of course, because the subject is space, colonize planets by stunning them in a twisted style that feels like some crazier take of the Helldiver or Starship Troopers community, mixed with JoJo and anime references.
And start watching One Piece again. From the start.
You'll fit right in if you love Slay the Spire or other deck builders with a little bit more complexity, freedom, and rewarding elements. But of course, if you're not into linear and repetitive actions that, while fun for a few hours, tend to get very boring once you grasp the best decks, then you might find this a tad bit frustrating with a lot of the general features. While it's not perfect now and they clearly need some time to balance out specific cards and decks and adjusting the gameplay for a whole to make it less frustrating and not game-breaking, it is a very cheap game with plenty of hours of content for you to enjoy and unlock as you fight to save the galaxy from Thanatos and Trash Zero, who are attempting to stop you. So it's definitely worth the time to check out Oda Emon Studios, especially Wolfstride, if you're looking for something cheap, fresh, and something packed full of story and content that will keep you busy and entertained for the next 15 hours. I do have a lot of faith in them as a small team to make the required and necessary changes to bring this game up to par with the other massive contenders that have dominated the roguelike deck building genre for years. So definitely, at the very least, give it a try and see how you like it so far.
Welcome aboard, Kami.